I'd like to introduce Dianne from the United States, who takes LDN for Hailey Hailey's disease. Thank you for joining me, Dianne.
Oh, you're welcome. Glad to be here.
Could you tell me when you first started to notice that there was something wrong?
Well, Hailey Hailey runs in our family. You know, as you may or may not know, it's a genetic defect. It's a chromosomal defect, so it usually is a hereditary condition. And I first noticed it when I was in my early 20s, and it was my skin had a breakout, and it was biopsied, and determined it was Hailey Hailey, but it was a very minor problem at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm now in my late 50s, and probably maybe about 8 years ago, it became a bigger problem to me. I had more frequent outbreaks, and more time spent trying to get it to heal, and going to dermatologists, and trying to do something to help my skin.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually treated with topical steroids, or topical or oral antibiotics, or antifungals, or antivirals, depending what it may get infected. Secondary infection. Anytime you have an open wounds, they tend to have different types of secondary infections, which of course then it won't heal. So, is constant battle of trying to get rid of the infection, and then trying to get the skin to calm down, and keeping it clear for a little while, and then it breaking out again. And it's a chronic condition.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going to cure it, because it's a defect in the chromosomes, so it's a defect in the skin mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just something you learn to live with the best you can, and keep preventing it. In my situation, as most people, it's made worse by friction. So, it breaks out in the folds of the skin, where skin touches skin, under the arms, under the breast, in the groin, those kinds of places. So if you wear something that rubs your skin, or even around your waist, if you have a waistband, something that rubs it, it can cause the skin to react to that by blistering. Mm-hmm. And then the blisters open, and they get weepy and ugly, and fissures, and and then once it breaks out, it's difficult to get the skin to heal. So it's a constant, battle to keep your skin clear, or to get it to heal once it breaks out.
Mm-hmm. And how long ago did you hear about LDN?
Well, I guess it was in the summer. I found the Facebook group, the Hailey Hailey New Approaches, the Facebook group, and I saw them mention LDN. So then I looked it up and started reading about it, and I was familiar with Naltrexone, because I work in the addictions field, so I was familiar with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I read about it, and it made sense, what they said about how it worked, and it made sense that it would work for autoimmune disorders. I could see that made sense, that it was possible that could be very helpful. And then I saw that it was used by some people for Hailey Hailey, and at first I didn't see why it would help, but I read the files that were posted on that in that Facebook group, and then it made sense to me that it could help reducing the inflammation and things that would make the body able to heal.
Mm-hmm.
even though it wasn't an autoimmune disease, if you reduce all that inflammation, then maybe it can heal. So, I certainly felt that it was something with minimal side effects or practically no side effects, and there would be no harm in trying it. And I work also as I'm an oncology nurse as well, so I understand how big pharma pushes drugs, and seeing the new biologic, the chemotherapy drugs that are so expensive, and I could understand why there wasn't research on LDN, because there's no money to be made. But that certainly doesn't mean it's not an effective drug. It just means that there's not, the trials that need to be done for the physicians to feel comfortable ordering it. Fortunately, I have a dermatologist who is interested in learning and is not closed-minded, and so I directed him to the website and asked him to do the research, and he was very interested. He only has a couple of patients with Hailey Hailey. And anyway, so he said, well, let me do the research, and he would read about it. And then when I spoke to him, I gave him a little time to do that. And he said, sure, I'll order it. I don't see that it could harm you. And so he ordered it for me. And at the time, it was, had a very bad breakout. It started in April. And the summertime is particularly a bad time for most people with Hailey Hailey, because sweating and friction, are just, it's really bad in the summertime. And I had a breakout on both sides of my inner thighs. It was so bad that I couldn't do anything to heal it. It just, get a little better, and it would just get bad again. And it was so red and so inflamed, and it was horrible. It was a struggle to go to work, because putting clothes on was just so difficult. And I would come home from work, and normally I'm an active person. I go to the gym and stuff, but I just couldn't, because I'd just come home and take my clothes off. And, I just couldn't bear to put clothes on. And it was really bad. And it was, it was so, you get depressed when you have a condition that nothing helps and you don't see any improvement, and and this chronic disease is difficult when you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. You just don't know that it ever is going to heal, and trying all conventional methods, nothing was really helping me.
So when you
summer, it was just terrible.
So when you first started LDN, what did you notice?
Well, I started in September. By the time I got it, originally I got liquid so that I could titrate it up. And for the first couple weeks, the first couple nights I had crazy dreams, But then after that really, hasn't been an issue. But it took a couple weeks, and I took pictures. If you had any interest, I could send you pictures. Once a week I took a picture. And in the beginning, I would have to say for the first 2 weeks I really didn't notice anything. But then suddenly on the third week, and I was doing nothing different besides taking the LDN. The third week, suddenly my skin, which was bright red and, just so inflamed, the redness started to just disappear. And it started to heal just very gradually. But the inflammation was definitely decreased. The swelling that was in the area from the inflammation went down, and it just, the color went from bright red to being pink. It just was fading out, and it healed. Very gradually, but impressively. I went back to my dermatologist, the end of October. I started September 18th, and my appointment with the dermatologist was, I think, October 30th. And he was very impressed with the improvement. It still wasn't healed 100%, but the one side was healed maybe 90%, the one leg, and the other side was probably 75%. And it wasn't draining, it wasn't, bright red anymore, and it felt better. I mean, I was sleeping before I started the LDN. I'd have to sleep with ice packs because if it didn't hurt, it itched, and it just was so uncomfortable at night. The only way I could sleep was with ice. And, after the inflammation decreased, then it stopped hurting and it stopped itching, because the itching was worse than the discomfort,
Mm-hmm.
And
what would you say it's like now?
Well, I've had some days where I'm 100% clear, and then I get overconfident, and I might wear something that something that rubs, and sometimes you don't realize till you're out of the house that what you wore was not a good idea. And it's not pure, so my skin will still break out, but it heals right away. Is
stress a trigger as well?
Pardon me?
Is stress a trigger?
I don't really think so. For me, I think the trigger is when something rubs it. Plus, I think if I eat a lot of sugar, that might make it worse. I'm not really sure, but it's definitely when I wear something that just starts to rub my skin. It still will break out, but it heals quickly, and it doesn't get, it might have a blister, but it's not a big area that gets all red and inflamed and swollen. It's just different. It's totally different. It'll, as soon as I relieve the friction or whatever was irritating it, and I'm more careful, it'll get better.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, this is remarkable for anybody listening.
Yeah,
Hailey disease.
It's so much better, and now it's winter time, and winter my skin is usually better anyway, because summer times are the bad times for me. So I'm waiting, for summer to see if I can get through summer again and it be as good as it is now. I will be absolutely thrilled.
That's amazing.
That'll be the big test.
Yeah.
Because, that's when my skin is always worse in the summertime. So, but right now, there's absolutely no side effects. It's inexpensive. And I think it's helping. And it's just, when I read about people that can't get it, it's very frustrating.
Well, I'll tell you what I'd like to do. If we say next year this time, we'll do a follow-up and see how you got on throughout the summer.
Yes, and I hope I'll say, that it's great. Boy, I really hope so.
Thank you very much for sharing your experience with us.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for all you do to help everybody else.